I bought a silver ring at a pawn shop for $40. 3 days later, I noticed something impossible. It got warm. Not from my body heat. The metal itself grew warm, but only around certain people. 3 people, to be exact. I'm a physics student. I don't believe in unexplained phenomena. So I did what any scientist would do. I tested it. And the results terrified me. Same 3 people, same temperature rise, same distance every time. I needed to understand why. What I discovered changed everything I believed about people and about empathy itself. Before we dive in, let me ask you something. Have you ever bought something that unexpectedly changed your life? Tell me in the comments. And if you enjoy stories about mysteries, invisible connections, and extraordinary moments, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Now, let's go back to the day I bought a ring that taught me empathy is more than just a feeling. I was a senior physics major at Temple University in Philadelphia. My life revolved around logic, formulas, and proof. I believed in data, things that could be measured, repeated, verified. Not fate, not signs, certainly not magical objects. So when I bought that simple silver ring at a pawn shop one gray Saturday, I had no expectations. It was plain, no stones, no engravings, just a smooth silver band. It fit perfectly on my index finger, replacing the class ring I'd lost years ago. I paid $40, slipped it on, and forgot about it within an hour. The weekend passed like any other, studying quantum mechanics, grabbing coffee with my roommate Jade, and spending late nights at the library. Then Monday morning came. At my usual coffee shop, I waited in line for my black coffee. The barista, curt mid-30s, quiet but polite, handed me my drink. And that's when I felt it. The ring was warm. Not burning, just a strange, steady warmth radiating from the metal itself. By the time I reached campus, it had cooled again. Weird, I thought, and brushed it off. 3 days later, it happened again. This time, in my professor's office. Professor Carroll was reviewing my thesis on quantum entanglement. While she spoke, the ring grew warm again, same sensation, same impossible heat. I hadn't touched anything hot. I'd just been holding my notebook. She noticed my distraction. "Everything okay?" she asked. "Yeah, just my ring feels warm." She smiled. "Metal conducts heat. You probably touched something warm." But I hadn't. The warmth faded, but my curiosity didn't. I made a note in my journal. Then came the 3rd time. At Jade's insistence, I joined her for a yoga class. I was clumsy, off balance, struggling to hold a pose when the warmth returned, stronger this time. I stumbled. The instructor, Mandy, came over to help me adjust. And the ring got hotter. It stayed warm the entire time she was near me. When she moved to help someone else, it cooled. Instantly. That's when I knew it wasn't coincidence. 3 times, 3 people, a pattern. And patterns can be tested. Over the next 2 weeks, I treated it like an experiment. I called it the ring test. I logged everything: date, time, location, temperature, proximity. I even used an infrared thermometer. The results were clear and consistent. Every time I was near Kurt, Professor Carroll, or Mandy, the ring heated up by 3 to 4 degrees Celsius. No one else triggered it. Not my roommate. Not strangers. Not even my closest friends. Only them. Day after day, I repeated the tests. Same results. Same 3 people. And each time, I felt a strange pull. Like the ring wasn't reacting to heat, but to something deeper. Something human. The ring warmed every single time Kurt was working, and never when other baristas were around. I went to Professor Carroll's office hours 3 times, same warmth, every time. I went back to yoga twice more, and again, only when Mandy was teaching. It became predictable. The ring would begin to heat when I was within about 3 meters of them, peak at around 1 meter, and cool the instant we stepped apart. It was the most consistent, reproducible phenomenon I'd ever seen outside a controlled lab. I needed to understand how. So I took the ring to my friend Zeke, a graduate student in materials engineering. "What am I looking for?" he asked, examining it under a microscope. "Anything strange," I said. "Anything that could make it react to specific people." He ran every test he could: spectroscopy, X-ray imaging, magnetometry. 3 hours later, he called me back to the lab. "Lena, this ring is wild," he said. "What do you mean?" He turned his monitor toward me. "Look at this. Inside the band, those tiny structures. That's not decoration, that's circuitry." He zoomed in. Embedded in the silver were hair-thin pathways forming a complex network of conductive material. "It's incredibly advanced," he said. "This kind of design doesn't exist in commercial jewelry or even most research devices." He pointed to one section. "This part looks like a thermal element, something meant to generate heat. And this here looks like a sensor, possibly bioelectric." "Bioelectric?" I asked. "Yeah, it might be reading electromagnetic signals, the kind produced by living bodies. Brain activity, heart rhythm, all of that creates measurable fields. If this ring was engineered to detect specific patterns in those signals, it could theoretically recognize certain individuals." "That's impossible," I said quietly. "It should be," he replied. "But someone built this, someone way ahead of anything we've got now." I left the lab with more questions than answers. Someone had created a ring that could recognize specific people based on something measurable, something invisible but real. But what connected them? So I shifted my focus. Instead of studying the ring, I studied them. Over the next week, I watched and listened carefully. Kurt, the barista, was kind but distant, the sort of person who spoke softly even in a crowded shop. One slow afternoon, I asked him how long he'd worked there. 3 years, he said. "I used to be an ER nurse, burned out hard, needed something quieter." "What made you burn out?" He hesitated, then sighed. "It wasn't just the chaos. It was feeling everything. Every patient's pain, every family's grief. Sounds crazy, but sometimes I'd go home and feel the injuries, like echoes in my own body." That stayed with me. Then there was Professor Carroll. Brilliant, analytical, but strangely sensitive. In class, she once said she couldn't watch medical dramas. "Too visceral," she'd admitted. "They affect me too deeply. It's like I feel what the characters feel." And then there was Mandy. After yoga one day, I stayed to help her roll up mats. We talked easily. "Do you work anywhere else?" I asked. She smiled. "Part-time at a special needs school. Kids with severe autism, most can't speak." "That must be hard." "It is," she said softly, "but I have this weird thing. I can tell what they need even when they can't say it. Sometimes I actually feel what they're feeling." She told me about one student who kept having meltdowns. "No one knew why," she said. "Then I felt this sharp pain in my jaw out of nowhere. I told them to take him to a dentist. Turned out he had an abscess. He couldn't explain the pain, but somehow I felt it." I felt chills. "You felt his pain physically?" I asked. "Yeah, it's been that way all my life," she said. "If someone near me is hurting, I feel it too, like their pain echoes through me." That night, I went home and dove into research. Hours of medical journals, neuroscience papers, case studies, until I found it. Mirror touch synesthesia. A rare neurological condition where the brain's mirror neurons are hyperactive, causing people to physically feel the sensations they see in others. When someone with this condition witnesses pain, their brain doesn't just understand it, it mirrors it. Their empathy becomes physical. It was real, documented, scientific. And somehow, the ring had found them. I froze. The warmth spread across my hand, stronger than ever before, almost pulsing in rhythm with my heartbeat. Sophie looked up from her book, noticing the faint shimmer of metal catching the light. "What's that?" she asked quietly, her voice distant, wary. It's a ring, I said, sitting carefully on the edge of her bed. It reacts to certain people. She frowned. Reacts how? It heats up, I said, only near people like you. Her eyes narrowed, confusion mixing with exhaustion. People like me. I hesitated, searching for the right words. There's something called mirror touch synesthesia. It's a real neurological condition. People with it can literally feel what others feel, not just emotionally, but physically. When someone near them is in pain, their brain mirrors that pain in their own body. Sophie blinked, her expression unreadable. That sounds exactly like what I've been trying to explain for years. I nodded, feeling my throat tight. I know, you're not imagining it, you're not broken. It's rare, incredibly rare, but real. And this ring was made to find people who have it. She stared at the ring like it was something sacred. Who made it? A neuroscientist named Dr. Iris Hartman, I said. She had the same condition. She built the ring to detect others like her, so they wouldn't have to live alone, thinking something was wrong with them. Sophie's lips trembled. She looked down at her hands, then back at me. So this could mean I'm not crazy. I reached out and took her hand. The ring flared with heat again, gentle but insistent, like it was confirming what I said. You're not crazy, I whispered. You just feel more than most people ever will. For a moment, she didn't move. Then her shoulders began to shake, soft sobs breaking the silence. Years of fear, shame, and confusion poured out all at once. I held her, and the ring stayed warm between us, steady, constant, like a heartbeat connecting us both. When she finally pulled back, her eyes were red but lighter somehow, as if a weight had lifted. What do I do now? She asked. Maybe, I said, you start by realizing you're not alone. She smiled weakly. And maybe you help me figure out what that ring can really do. I smiled too. Yeah, maybe we do that together. That night, long after she'd fallen asleep, I sat by her desk, scrolling through old research papers by Dr. Hartman, piecing together fragments of her unfinished work. There were references to a network calibration protocol, encrypted data logs, and a phrase that kept appearing in her notes. The Empath Network, Phase 1. As I read, the ring pulsed once on my finger, a slow, deliberate thrum. Somewhere out there, it was recognizing something or someone. And I knew this was only the beginning. That meant I was right. I need to tell you something, I said, sitting down. And I need you to hear me out before you dismiss it. Okay, she nodded. I told her everything. About the ring, about mirror touch synesthesia, about the 3 people I'd met who had it, about Jonah's mother who had built technology to find others like her. Sophie, when you say being around people hurts, you mean it literally, don't you? You physically feel what they're feeling. If someone near you is in pain, you feel pain. If someone's sad, you feel their sadness in your body, not just in your mind. She stared at me, tears streaming down her face. How did you know? I've tried to explain it to doctors, to mom and dad, to therapists, but they always say I'm just sensitive. But it's not the same. It's physical. When I was at school and someone got hurt, I felt it in my body. When I see someone crying on TV, my chest tightens like I'm the one crying. It's not imagination. It's real. And no one believed me. I believe you, I said softly. And it is real. It's a neurological condition. You're not just sensitive, Sophie. You're not broken. Your brain is wired differently. Your mirror neurons are hyperactive. It's rare, but it's documented. There are other people who have it. She grabbed my hands. There are others. I'm not the only one. You're not, I said. And there are ways to manage it. Not cure it, but manage it. Learning to create mental boundaries, techniques to differentiate between your sensations and others. Even just knowing what it is, that it's real, that helps. I showed her the research I'd compiled, case studies, scientific papers, resources for people with mirror touch synesthesia. For the first time in 3 years, I saw hope in my sister's eyes. Can I meet them? She asked. The people you found, the ones who have this. I'll ask them, I said. Over the next month, I arranged for Sophie to meet Kurt, Professor Carol, and Mandy. separately at first, because groups were still overwhelming for her. But she met them, talked to them, heard their stories. Kurt told her about his years as an ER nurse, feeling every patient's pain, thinking he was too weak for the job until he realized he was feeling literally, not just emotionally. Mandy told her about working with nonverbal children, how her ability to feel what they felt made her better at her job, even though it was exhausting. Professor Carroll told her about learning to create mental compartments, ways to acknowledge the sensations without being consumed by them. And Sophie, for the first time in years, didn't feel alone. She met people who understood, who believed her, who told her she wasn't crazy or weak or broken. She started therapy again, but this time with a psychologist who specialized in sensory processing differences, not treating her for anxiety or depression, but helping her develop coping mechanisms for her hyperactive mirror neurons. She started going outside again, short walks at first in quiet areas with few people, then longer walks, then small, quiet cafes during off hours. 6 months after I bought the ring, Sophie came to visit me in Philadelphia. She took the train by herself, something she hadn't been able to do in years. We met at a quiet coffee shop, not the one where Kurt worked. She wasn't ready for that yet, but a small place with only a few customers. "How are you doing?" I asked. "Better, not perfect," she said with a smile. "I still get overwhelmed sometimes, but now I know what's happening. I know it's my mirror neurons, not me being weak. I know there are others like me. I know I'm not crazy. That makes all the difference." She pulled something out of her bag, a journal filled with her handwriting. "I've been writing about it, my experiences, what it feels like. I want to share it online in case there are other people like me who don't know what they have, who think they're going crazy. Maybe if they read what I wrote, they'll recognize themselves. They'll know to look for answers." "Sophie, that's incredible." "It's because of you," she said. "You found that ring. You figured it out. You believed me when no one else did." "I should have believed you sooner," I said quietly. "You believed me when it mattered. That's what counts." I still have the ring. I wear it sometimes, though I've met enough people with mirror touch synesthesia now that I don't need it to identify them. I've learned to recognize the signs. The way they flinch when they see someone hurt. The way they tear up at others' pain. The way they avoid crowded places and emotional situations. Jonah and I became friends. We're working together to finish his mother's project, creating a proper network for people with mirror touch synesthesia. Not just a ring, but a full support system, resources, community, research. Sophie is part of it too. Her writing has reached hundreds of people who have recognized themselves in her descriptions. People who have spent years thinking they were broken, discovering they're actually extraordinary. Because that's what people like Sophie are, extraordinary. They don't just sympathize with suffering. They feel it in their own bodies. And they still choose to be kind, to help, to care, even though caring literally hurts them. The ring taught me something I should have known as a physics student, that the most important things aren't always visible. Particles, forces, fields, we can't see them, but we can measure their effects. We can prove they exist. Mirror touch synesthesia is like that, invisible but real, unmeasurable in conventional ways, but undeniable in its effects. And people who have it are carrying a weight the rest of us can't imagine, feeling pain and emotion that isn't theirs, processing sensations that would overwhelm most people, and doing it every single day. They're not weak, they're the strongest people I know, and they deserve to know they're not alone. Have you ever tried to explain something you were experiencing, but no one believed you or understood? Share your story in the comments below. If this story about mysteries, invisible connections, and the extraordinary people who carry the weight of the world touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe for more meaningful stories every day. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss our next thought-provoking tale. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.